Coming to you from the beautiful Wyoming side of the Grand Teton Mountains, my name is Jay Price and this is Price Advice. The Price Advice 7 series includes 7 tips about project management, business, and life presented in 11 minutes. Today we're going to be talking about the Project Management Professional Exam, the PMP, how I prepared, how I aced it, and how you can too. First, the legal stuff. The PMP is among the very top-rated certifications for 2018 and beyond. If you've ever thought about becoming a project manager and being paid top dollar, now's the time to get your certification. So why does PMP certification matter anyway? For most project management positions, PMP certification is either required or preferred. Agree or disagree, but the market says you need it. It means more promotions, more respect, more believability among coworkers, and a better salary. And demand is great today and in the future. According to this report from the Project Management Institute, the demand over the next 10 years for project managers is expected to grow much faster than the demand for workers in general. And demand is expected to grow by 33%, or 22 million new jobs, to a total of 88 million project management jobs by 2027. You can get the full report at pmi.org. The PMP eligibility is tough. Requirements include many years of project management experience, many hours of leading projects, and formal project management education. And sitting for and passing the dreaded PMP exam, I'm here to help you pass it with my 7 tips. First, a list of a few of my credentials, including PMP, CPIM, Oracle, ERP certification, Six Sigma Black Belt, and yada, yada, yada. Also, you'll be happy to know that I'm a part-time rock and roll musician. I've been drumming and strumming for over 30 years. Stick around after this presentation for a dazzling 20-second drum solo. But before we begin our 7 tips, understand this is just advice, right? I'm just giving you what worked for me. I know there's a lot of experts out there. Some will agree with my approach, some will disagree. That's fine. It's not politics, it's not religion. It worked for me. It might be helpful for you. So don't get crazy angry if you disagree. No need to leave me a bunch of negative comments if this method doesn't work for you. So before I give you the Price Advice tips, here's my list of things not to do if you expect to pass the exam. Don't expect to rely totally on your practical experience. You might have 20 years of project management experience already. You might be one of the best project managers in the country, but you will not pass the exam without understanding the terminology and the methods prescribed by the PMI and the Project Management Body of Knowledge, otherwise known as PMBOK. Don't expect to cram over a couple of weeks and pass the exam. It takes time, sometimes over a year of study. Don't try to memorize the entire PMBOK. Yes, use supplemental material if you feel the need, but don't spend tens of thousands of dollars. Just realize that passing the PMP is just plain old-fashioned hard work. For sure, practical experience is important, but you'll need to understand the terms and principles prescribed by the Project Management Institute. You'll also need to get an understanding of all the PMBOK formulas and calculations, such as earned value and all the associated formulas. So here we go. Price tip number 1. Absorb the PMBOK. Read it cover to cover. Make notes for each section or chapter relating the book material to your real-life experiences as a project manager. And tie the knot between the textbook and your practical experience. Much of the PMP exam is based on specific scenarios. For example, given XYZ situation, what would you do? This is where you can really excel if you have extensive hands-on experience. Tip number 2 is to memorize a table that shows the process groups and knowledge areas. The entire PMBOK is organized around this one table. Memorize it box for box and word for word. I'll show you how in the next few slides. This is the table. It's called the Project Management Process Groups and Knowledge Area Mapping. It's found twice in the PMBOK 6th edition on page 25 and on page 556. Let's zoom on the next slide. So here's my recommendation. Make yourself a 1-page flashcard of the entire table. On side A, you'll have the full completed table. Now use the flip side, side B, with the blank cells to practice writing in the 4 process groups across the top and the 10 knowledge areas down the side, plus each of the 49 project management processes. Do it over and over again until you can do it quickly without error. Again, I can't overemphasize it. Memorize this table position by position, word for word. You can make your own flash page like this one, or you can get one from me at JayPriceAdvice on Facebook. At exam time, the first thing you should do is take out a blank sheet of paper that will be provided to you and exactly replicate this table. It should take no more than 10 minutes. Keep it right in front of you and refer to it frequently during the exam. Since most of the questions are related to the PMBOK in one way or the other, having access to this table will be invaluable to you as you read and ponder the exam questions. Tip number 3 is to take as many sample exams as you can find. Study the material, take the sample tests, study your weak areas, create your own bank of sample questions, repeat the process and do it over and over again. This does two things. It gives you a good idea what to expect and where you are weak. And number 2, it creates an exam simulation where you can time yourself. In the process, remember to do tip number 1, create the table of process groups and knowledge areas each time you take a sample exam. There are many sources of exam questions. Some are free and some will cost you. I did both, but each time I gleaned a list of questions and combined them into a master list that I used to create my own random exam questions. Tip number 4, thoroughly know and understand the PMBOK acronyms and formulas. Know how to manipulate the formulas so you can always solve for the unknown. In the next couple of slides, I'll show you how to internalize the most important formulas. So here's what I did with the earned value related formulas. I created a worksheet that does all the calculation for certain input variables. I call this my earned value simulator. Here's a drill down of the EV simulator. The first column shows various scenarios where I can input variables and view and really understand the calculations and their real meanings in the project. I found this spreadsheet to be invaluable for me to really understand the underlying calculations and not just to memorize formulas. If you like what you see here, you can get it from the link below. Tip number 5, make PMI certification your very own project. Remember this quote, "The discipline of writing something down is the first step toward making it happen." Organize your project. Develop your own project charter, including budget and milestone due dates. Create your own project plan with your own work breakdown structure. Create a Gantt chart with tasks and due dates and hang it up on your wall. Monitor your progress and close the project when you've successfully completed your certification. Also, get collaborative. Join a local PMI chapter. Form your own study group. Get yourself a partner or wingman to help you set goals and hit deadlines. Tip number 6, flash memorize all of the process data flow diagrams. By flash, I mean to memorize and test yourself at least once by reproducing the text of each of the 49 project management processes. By reproducing it even once, you'll have it in your brain so you can answer questions and overall concepts of inputs and outputs and tools and techniques for each process. I'll show you how to do this in the next slide or so. Use a single sheet of paper for each process. On side A, print the image of the process flow diagrams. On side B, print the same image, but without the associated processes, without the inputs and outputs. You can see my example in the next couple of slides here. So here's my flash page side A with the process called Collect Requirements. This shows all the associated project management processes and outputs. And here's my flash page side B. For practice, you should pencil in the answers for memory. You can download this flash page and others using the link below. Here's another way to do it. Take your spreadsheet containing the table of process groups and knowledge areas that we covered previously. Use this to make a similar flash page by adding rows for each of the inputs and outputs and tools and techniques. Tip number 7, know all of the project management definitions and terms from the 28 pages in the PMBOK glossary or other PMI recognized sources. Don't attempt to memorize these, just read them and check them off when you fully understand them. Some of them are not obvious and are often misused. For example, a schedule, often represented by a Gantt chart, is not a project plan, but rather just a component of the project plan. So get your definitions right for the test and beyond. How about a bonus tip? The PMI application for PMP is extensive, and the Project Management Institute can be quite picky about your experience history. I found this type of spreadsheet to be very valuable to make sure I had enough hours in each project and adequate hours within each process group and within each activity. There are dozens and or more variations of this out there from different organizations. So your bonus tip, get a copy from Integrated Process Developers or some other organization and use it to complete your PMP application. So remember, my price advice and my 7 tips to pass the PMP. Absorb the PMBOK, know the table of process groups and knowledge areas, be able to reproduce this table as a first step in the exam. Take as many sample exams as you can. Understand the formulas and their practical application. Make the PMP exam your personal project and manage it as such. Memorize and understand the process data flows in the PMBOK. Know the basic definitions of each of the terms of the PMBOK glossary. If you do all this, I know you're going to be successful. So, you can do it. Work hard, schedule it, pass it, then celebrate. Then go ask your boss for a raise. So current and aspiring project managers, what do you think? What tips do you have? What worked for you? Leave your comments in the section below and connect with me via LinkedIn. Put Price Advice in your LinkedIn invitation so I know it's you, or connect with me via Facebook on JayPriceAdvice. And rock on, your drumming project guru, Jay Price. Until next time, this is Jay Price at Price Advice. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for today's dazzling drum solo.